And we will be in conversation with SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena, who is in Dubai, looking at what happens now, particularly if, some African countries are raising some serious issues, particularly where there are sticking points. And what happens? Do they move forward? Do they not? And how do we compare what we saw in Egypt at COP27 to COP28 now? So we will be in conversation with Sophie, who I understand is on the line with us right now. Sophie, thank you so much for your time. What is the latest?
Well, the latest is that we are still waiting for the new text where maybe countries have agreed to reach consensus on burning issues. But it was supposed to be available at 1800 local time. We are still waiting. The other issue is that we tried to get a reaction from the president of COP. He was not willing to divulge where the process is as we speak. And we also were able to cover a story where activists were protesting and pushing with the aim of ensuring that the text that will be released later today does go far enough in terms of ensuring that it is bold. On the other hand, we're able to speak to Minister Barbara Creecy. As you know, that her and her counterpart from Denmark have been given responsibility by the Secretary General to lead the talks on stocktake. But we are told that that document is experiencing challenges. Perhaps let's take a listen at what happened when we tried to speak to the president of COP, and also the protest, and of course the minister explaining where the process is at this moment. Mr. President, are we on course?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Rise when the people rise. It's the end of fossil fuel. It's time. The heat gets high. And the people rise. It's the end of fossil fuel.
Press line is right there.
It's the end of fossil fuels.
Pathways. As discussions have any more low emissions, we need an equitable fossil fuel phase out.
As you know, for the African group of negotiators, we want to see an ambitious global goal on adaptation with clear objectives and targets that are measurable and time-bound. So, of course, we also want an indication, although the new global goal on finance will not be resolved at this COP. It's something that would be resolved at COP29. We want to know that we want an indication that there is a recognition that we need new predictable finance at scale, and we also want an indication that there will be a balance between financing for mitigation and financing for adaptation. So I suppose that at this time, all we can do is wait.
Are you not disappointed that the stocktake, there has been difficulties?
We were in what's called a HODS meeting for most of the night. I left here in the early hours of this morning. We had an opportunity to express our views on the global stocktake. In that meeting, I did express the view that we need to have a balanced package where there is both ambition and equity. Ambition without equity will be an injustice for developing countries, and when we talk about ambition, we are talking about a balance between mitigation, adaptation, and means of implementation.
And Sophie, I mean, listening to what is coming out right now and where things stand currently, you were at COP27 as well. Let's compare the two to see if there are any similarities or even differences.
Well, I think it is similar. It was only early hours of the morning at the last day of the meeting where they were able to agree, particularly on a loss and damage fund. But not much came out of that COP. And here again, the issue is that yes, on the first day they were able to agree in terms of putting resources on loss and damage fund and perhaps start that process. But we are told that that's not enough, particularly the big countries still have to put more resources. And therefore, the main issue, it's all about fossil fuel. And as you heard, the minister from Nigeria very clear that we cannot bully the developing countries because they still want to use these resources to develop their own countries. And that reminds me of an announcement this week that Ali Dangote, he has built a huge refinery in Nigeria. They started working this week and receiving oil, at the refinery. On the other hand, we have South Africa powering ahead with nuclear, and also we had the refinery that was announced in partnership with Russia, and therefore the developing countries are saying, yes, let's do it. Let's do it in a manner where we won't compromise our economies. And also they are arguing that already they are implementing the renewables. Many countries, much as you can criticize them, they are using renewables as we speak, and therefore they want that to be considered, that they are already implementing. It's the question of the speed, but they have started. You can't talk about implementation. They've started.
See then what happens as you bring us the very latest. Thank you so much for that update. That is our SABC News International Editor, Sophie Mokoena, with the latest from COP28.